think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just get buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray.
Konnichiwa, konbanwa, ohayo gozaimasu. This is Marko Yamashita, finally signing back on, and I'm live on the airwaves. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, hey night, how's it going? Alright guys, it feels good to be back here. I have returned at a very fortunate time where I am able to cover the news live here. Just about 5.5 hours ago, our lovely Haachama, Akihato, provided her manager an update here. I wanted to cover what was said in her update, and I wanted to discuss a little bit what she has said in this live update. Well, actually, it's a written update. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying live, but it's a written update. But it's a very powerful and a very what I would describe as in-depth analysis of or explanation of what she's been going through, and we were actually very fortunate enough for her to share this with people, with her fans and her audience, because it provides some great insight on what she's been going through. So I took the liberty of translating her explanation of why she has not been around or said anything. Let me get the background music. Wait. Oh, that's loud. Okay, there we go. We're very fortunate that she has provided an explanation of what's going on, because it's something that is very hard to discuss and much less talk about in public. And let's go ahead and kind of dive into it here. I have it translated on my Twitter. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read it to you. Basically, her notification said, "Hello, this is Aki. I apologize for not being able to send out any messages until now. I haven't been well since February of this year, and was hospitalized immediately after the 4th festival live. Thanks to the support of my family, I've finally been temporarily discharged from the hospital, and I'm resting at home. I want to thank all my fans, members of Hololive, fellow VTuber members, the people at the company, and the people I used to work with for all your concern and support. I'm sorry for the worry and anxiety I caused you. Since leaving the program, I've had side effects from my medications, and it's made my mental health unwell, and I'm just trying to maintain myself at this point. I was afraid to use the... I was afraid to use the word hospitalization. I accidentally unplugged my deal here. Okay. I was afraid to use the word hospitalization to everyone without being able to say anything positive, and it would cause you to worry and become anxious about the situation. I also didn't want to show anyone weakness. So after consulting with my family, I decided to concentrate on my health first until I could be discharged before reporting anything. I'm sorry for the delay in making you worry. I want to reassure everyone that this isn't life-threatening. It will take some time to fully recover, but I'll do my best to take care of myself so I can return to you in complete health. Please wait a little longer, and I'll return to you in high spirits. And then she signed it. Now, there are several things here that are worth noting in her notification. And I want to go through this thoroughly because I want to provide some perspective of what was said. Now, obviously, this notification has been, it's been written in kind of a public affairs approach where you don't want to say too much. However, you do want to allow the talent to convey their feelings and what and what they want to say to everyone. So there is some PR speak in here. However, one of the first things I want to cover here is that she did state that she went into hospitalization right after the festival. Now, this was there were a number of things that were occurring during that time frame, and one of them obviously was physical health, because she had been pushing herself extremely hard. So hospitalization at that point could have very much been because she was just physically exhausted, or she had been pushing herself and she was extremely ill. However, that being said, there is what is referred to as in clinical terms as an outpatient. You're an inpatient for mental evaluation. However, you are still considered an outpatient because you basically stay for observation for a few days while you are having your health assessed, your mental acuity assessed, where you're at as a person mentally and emotionally. You see a number of psychiatrists, psychologists. They do a thorough evaluation of things like how you conduct yourself during your morning routine, whether or not you are obsessive compulsive about specific things, whether or not you're showing anxiety from being broken away from your normal routine, whether or not you are, I mean, they'll go as far as, can they even get you out of bed in the morning, that kind of thing. They observe practically everything, whether or not you, you refuse to eat, those types of things. So, and then what they do is they take an evaluation like this. Now, of course, I'm speaking on solely from how the psychological evaluations occur stateside, and not so much, and because I'm not I'm not versed on how it's done in Japan. They may have a different protocol over there in Japan, because every country does have different protocols. However, in the last 5 years, they have what they've tried to have what they call a unified standard, or an international standard in psychology, that they can try to get every country, whether you are first, second, or third, world countries, and the international standard is primarily with developed countries. They tried to have a unified protocol, so it can be standard across the board, and they can allow for the the flow of information and diagnosis and treatment to flow between countries without other countries getting behind of another. So this is where I'm speaking from. And once they have a handle on where the person is, they will either recommend either hospitalization, primarily to try to treat the problem and pull that person out of any external components that can be affecting the person's mental health, and try to provide them with the cleanest environment mentally that they can, so they can get better. Or they could also be recommend short-term hospitalization, primarily because you have to be able to put a person on medication and then find out whether or not they reach a therapeutic range where it stabilizes their mental faculties. Some medications can be prescribed purely, by a psychiatrist, or by a local, your primary physician. And in a lot of cases, and it's kind of unfortunate in a way, especially in America, your primary physician will just say, "Oh, we need to put you on," and I'm going to use this as a generic example. "Oh, we need to put you on Prozac," and then they'll give you Prozac and then send you on your way, and they, will follow up in 6 months, that kind of thing. Whereas if a person is in it is in a state where they either need to have medication that they're placed on that needs to be monitored either through your blood levels, where they need to check your blood levels on like a weekly basis to see whether or not your body is adapting to it, or if it's reaching like an untherapeutic range. There are strong medications like that that treat on a psychotic level. There are also medications where they are, unfortunately, antidepressants and a lot of psychiatric medications, they have the unintended side effect of sending people over the edge, where they do want to, game over. And I'm going to have to pick my words carefully because of the YouTube algorithm here. So please excuse me if you, if you hear me use a word like, game over. But, the main thing is that, she went and she got help, and that's good. We went through this last year with Rushia and Miki Nico, where it took a lot of encouragement for her to go get help, and she finally went and got help. And as everyone, there was a lot of people that were pushing back, saying, oh, you don't need to go to a doctor, you don't need to seek mental health, you don't need to have psychiatric help, just go out and do what you want, that kind of thing. You'll eventually get over it. Haachama, went and got, she's getting the help she needs, and that's what she needs, and that's good. I'm glad, and I'm actually happy that she got to the point where she said, I need to get help. And she told Hololive, I need time off. I need to get help. I'm struggling here, and honestly, and I said this several years ago, and it's nothing against her music, okay? It's nothing against this is nothing against what she has accomplished on her channel by any stretch of the means. That there are a lot of music here, and a lot of things that happened 2 years ago, which made me automatically say there's something wrong with her. And this is not a talking down by any stretch of the means. However, you could tell all the way back 2 years ago that she was struggling with something. And I think by and large, her being allowed to do the Haachama thing was very helpful for her, and being able to cope with what was going on, but I don't think it was enough. And I don't want to stretch it to the point where I say it it could have exacerbated the issue. However, I will say that there were a lot of warning signs where people basically said, "Oh, she's fine, but she wasn't, And it's fine. It's good that she has been able to reach that point. Okay, so I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. She has support from her family, which is great. She she said that she was temporarily discharged from the hospital and that she was resting at home. Now this line here translated a little funny. In some cases, it seemed like she said that she had she was discharged and then she had to go back, and it kind of makes me wonder exactly what was being said here, because there's also a portion here where she said that she when she left the program, she had side effects with the medications and it made her mentally unwell again. It made her health decline or deteriorate was another translation here. So I'm wondering if she got. I'm almost thinking that she got discharged. Excuse me. She got discharged, and then she started having trouble with her medications, and so she's kind of worried that she may have to go back. But if she was well enough to be discharged, it typically means that her medications were sufficient enough to stabilize her, where her doctors felt confident enough to allow her to go home to her family. Wiley, welcome. Yes, Shy. Well, my little sister took today off, so that's one thing. And that's why I was able to start streaming a little earlier. I got released from my my moderator duties for her channel. But the other thing is also I was going to stream earlier, but I was actually watching Miki Nico scream her brain out. Otherwise, I would have started a lot earlier. But yeah, I figured, I should, at least I wanted to talk about this after I read it. Because let me be candid with you guys here for a second. Let's see here. Oops, that one's the one that's open. Oh, that's that one. Okay. Give me a moment here. I want to be I want to be honest with you guys with my what she's going through, because we went through this with Haachama, not with Haachama, with Miki Nico and with Rushia. And in a lot of ways, I've been struggling with this as well, with mental health, and I mean I've had a lot of stuff that has happened over the last couple of years as well, and not just with involving with streaming, but outside of streaming as well. And I've struggled with a lot of that stuff as well, and it's very important for people to understand that especially with Hololive members, a lot of them are, they don't want to show weakness to the fan, and that's fine. However, if there's something that they're struggling with, it's also important for them to be able to, openly say, hey, I'm struggling with this, I need to take care of business, please wait for me, kind of thing, and they don't have to go into as much detail per se as what Haachama did. However, it gives perspective of what these girls go through on a regular basis. And I want to show you this here real quickly. Every single person that you see in this picture here, every single one of them have been or they are going through some kind of mental issue right now, and that's just fact. They've either struggled with it in the past, or they are currently dealing with it right now. Every single one of them. And this is in the last 3 years since I've been following Hololive. In the last 3 years, 10 Hololive members, and I'm including Rishi in this, have either struggled with, or they're currently struggling with mental health. Some of them are keep it more quiet than others. Others they vent it through other avenues, or they share their frustrations, or what they're going through privately through other social media that is not Hololive exclusive. Um, some of them, I'm privy to. And the only reason why I know so much about what Rushia and Mikiniko went through was I was privy to her private Twitter account at one point before she deleted it. And I want to say this with all honesty, we have to, as fans, we have to acknowledge when our beloved VTubers are struggling with something, and we do have to encourage them to take time off and say more than just take care of yourself. If we do see them struggling, we do need to voice our concern. And a lot of the people that are on screen right now, a lot of them have said, if it wasn't for you guys voicing your concern, I wouldn't have realized what I was going through. Or what I was putting up with, or what I need to go take care of. And that they are very thankful that the fans care enough to say something, before they self-destruct. And that's where Haachama was heading, and fortunately, either because of a manager, or because of her family, or a combination of both, or maybe even her friends or other Hololive members, she stated on her, in her her statement here that she even mentions people that she used to work with. For all we know, that could have been Keisan, that could have been Miki and Nico, that could have been a number of other people before Hololive. She mentioned fellow VTubers, that were not just in Hololive, so that leads me to believe that a lot of her people that she knows offline, who are also in the business, they likely told her, "Hey, you need to go get some help." So it's very unfortunate. A year after, and this is just from what I remember, I'm doing this off the top of my head, okay? A year after Mori started, she was so burnt and stressed out over everything that was going on, she had to take time off. And then she had to disappear for, I think it was like a couple of months. Noelle has gone through numerous things, including 2 controversies when she first started. And she's had to take time off. She has mentioned privately that a number of times she struggles with Noelle struggles with well, I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but I believe Noelle may have an eating disorder because she is so worried about her weight. But that that's kind of guessing based upon her own private statements. But she's also struggled with stress of the job that she has. And she also maintains 2 businesses. Well, Hololive and another business. So she's dealing with that. Choco Sensei has mentioned privately that she's struggling with heavy depression, despite how she acts in front of everyone. She struggles with major depression, and I really wish she would go get some help, but I guess she deals with it with drinking or something. I don't know, but she struggles with it. Kiara has struggled with extreme burnout, and had to figure out how to deal with it. She's taken time off. Ina's taken time off for extreme burnout and depression. Everyone knows that Guro had to go away twice, at least twice. because of the stress of everything that's been going on. She struggled with it. We know everything that's happened with Miki Nico and Russia. Mel went through two controversies, including one with a stalker and a former classmate, and then she went through a second one, and she struggled extremely with depression. And if it wasn't for her fans, loving her and supporting her when she came back, she has stated privately that she probably would have quit. And she's just now hitting her stride. I mean, she is, finally releasing, she released her EP. She's released a number of singles. She's, people are finally recognizing that she exists in Hololive, and, she's seen a major influx on, fans and support. I'm extremely happy for her, Marin went through extreme depression, especially during the entire BL incident, where they couldn't even get her out of bed because she was just so depressed. Okayu and many others literally went over there and sat with her while she was in bed, just because they didn't want to leave her alone. And she just wanted to, hide under her futon and sleep the entire time. No, Mel was stopped. Mel was, I believe it was like a year or so after she started with Hololive. Mel had a stalker incident. And it ended up being a former classmate that found out she was a VTuber and was working for Hololive. And it was a former classmate that was that happened to know her phone number and was sending all sorts of weird messages and phone calls and stuff like that. And of course, they knew where she lived, and so they were literally faking that there was a that there was some obsessed fan out there, but police got involved and everything else like that. But she had to go away for a while because of it, because she was so scared, and she didn't want to leave her place. She didn't know if she was safe or not. She went through a lot of psychological trauma. And it really made, if you watched the stream involving, she played it a little while back, the karaoke horror game that involves a stalker. If you watch her play that game, and I said during the stream too, I said, when she finds out this game is about a stalker, I hope it doesn't bother her too much. And she played it. She found out it involved the stalker. She got one of the endings. I think she got the good ending on the very first run through. She didn't want to play anymore, and you could tell she didn't want to play anymore. But there were a lot of people who are like, "Come on, there's more than one ending," and so she went and she got a second ending. And after the second ending, which of course was not a good ending or not happy ever after ending, she's like, "Yeah, I'm done." She was like, "I'm not playing anymore." And you could tell it bothered her. So, I mean, even now she doesn't. I mean, it's in the past, and I know she's tried her best to put it in the past, but at the same time, it's still something she has to deal with. Yeah, it happened, I believe it was like a year or so after she started. There was that incident as well. involving an employee there. That was the second incident. But the first incident involved a former classmate of hers that basically was jealous that she was, working for something famous, for someplace famous, and the police got involved in it. So yeah, she had the second incident as well. She's been, and I feel sorry. I really feel sorry for her. I really do, because she's been at the unfortunate end of so many bad things that were not necessarily her fault. I mean, you have the stalker incidents. She's had to go away. Twice. She missed her first couple of anniversaries with her gen mates because of that stuff, and then she and then she finally got to celebrate her first year with on stage with everybody, and I can't remember who it was that performed with they're in the group, but one of them started crying because it was the first time that they got to celebrate together, that everyone was there finally, and they were extremely happy. So but she's gone through a lot, and she's been able to bounce back from it. I'm not sure if that was the same one or not. I really don't. I can tell you this much. Knowing what Mel looks like in real life, I could. She's extremely attractive. So I could see where she would probably drive the boys nuts in real life. That doesn't excuse the fact that some guy went and did that. Yeah, but I mean, even Kanata, Kanata, she shows herself as a strong person, and she's gone strong. She's before and after the Coco incident, and Coco left and everything. I mean, she went hard for a long time, but then she had to take time off as well because she was extremely burned out from just going so hard, and I'm not saying that Hololive is a bad place to work, and I'm not bashing Hololive. I do think that Hololive has gotten better about recognizing the fact that there are needs beyond the business model with their with their employees and with their talents, and have been able to get out of being such a sweatshop type of thing, and if you look at their financials, I can understand why they were like really pushing at the beginning to just ensure that they are bringing in a profit, because even they were extremely tight with how much they were spending versus how much they were putting out. However, I think once the industry showed that it was resilient enough that they wouldn't they wouldn't just fade away, and that the interest wasn't waning and it was growing, then they were able to be more confident in assuming more responsibilities and risks, which includes recognizing, hey, our talent needs to rest, otherwise we're going to start losing them to their mental health. I mean, you have 10 top tier people here now. All right, the 10 people that I showed you here, out of the 10 people that I showed you here, if you account for just like half of them. I mean, each one of them, you know, Marine on average right now, Marine is pulling in over, close to or over 200,000 views per stream. I mean, that's insane. That you know, that's crazy. I was comparing what their output is, you know, towards one another. And Gura on the other side, between her and Marine, they account for almost half a million views in 2 streams. That's 500,000 in just 2 people. All right, you know, if you account for the you know, if you account for everyone that's on screen here, I mean, each one of them pulls in at least 100,000 views. You know, so I mean, you're talking, you know, 1 million views, you know, on the screen right now, and if they were to lose every single one of them, I mean, that's 1 million views a day, and that you know, and if you you know, look at the amount of revenue that they pull in per day, I mean, just in super chats alone, I mean, you're talking tens of thousands, if not close to 100,000 in US dollars a day that they would lose out on, and between ad revenue, between sponsorships, between you know, super chats. I mean, you're talking a lot of money. So I think they're starting to recognize, hey, we need to start giving our talent time off. You know, if you looked at the amount of revenue that Russia, how much, you know, if you look at the amount of revenue and pure super chat money alone, that Hololive lost, just by you know, having her graduate, Hololive on average was averaging $1 million. She was pulling in $1 million in super chat money a year. Okay, that, you know, that if she streamed every single day for an entire year, she would have surpassed. She would have probably hit 1.25 million a year. Now, this is before YouTube takes their cut out, before Hololive takes their cut out, and then, yeah, this is not what Russia herself got. This is how much Russia pulled in just on super chat money. This doesn't include, you know, merchandise. This includes sponsorship deals. This doesn't improve appearances. This doesn't, you know, account for a lot of the other stuff that that is in addition to just one person. All right, so, you know, each one of these characters, each one of these talents, I mean, you're looking at a potential, you know, loss of 10 million just off of people who are struggling or have struggled with mental health. And if you have 2, 3 of them, 4 of them, you know, all burned out at the same time, and you lose 4 of them, you know, that, I mean, that's $4 million that they, you know, you're talking, you know, they're a multi-million dollar company now. I believe the revenue that they brought in, the gross revenue that they brought in, if my conversions were right, they pulled in at least gross. This is gross. This is not net. Okay, this is before expenses and everything else. They pulled in over 110 million last year in gross revenue. And this doesn't account for a lot of other things as well. So they have hit over 100 million in gross revenue as a company. All right, and that was just what was reported with their IPO in March. So So let's move on just a little bit here. I will back read and shortly, but I do want to move on here because I dwelled and segued a lot on the topic. So she did state that here, since leaving the program, she's experienced side effect medications, which has made her mental health unwell, or it because of the side effect medications, it her mental health deteriorated. And that she's just working to maintain herself at this point. Now, this could be, like I said at the beginning, this could be a number of factors. Okay, one, it could be that the medications were no longer working that they put her on. Two, it could side effects. If you look at the side effects for treating mental issues, there's a numerous amount of side effects, especially, and it's very hard when you are trying to treat multiple factors at the same time. She doesn't go into exactly what her diagnosis was, and unfortunately, I don't have enough of being able to observe her behavior outside of character, like I was able to with Miki Nico, to make kind of a formulate an opinion based on my past experience working in mental health. However, I can say that based upon the trends that she tend to show, I would venture to guess that she may have been experiencing something close to what Miki Nico was experiencing with a what would be defined as a clinical depression. Excuse me, because they and that's based upon the fact that she was hospitalized and then she was she didn't really give a self update on anything until she was discharged. I believe she did, and I'm trying to think back on her Twitter account. I think she may have said a few things. A lot of this is her it wasn't until so she hasn't said anything since March 13th. So it makes me want to believe that a lot of what was said, like this here, it was prepared and then released by her manager, and then everything else, it hasn't been, she hasn't said anything since the statement here. So it makes me want to believe that there may have been a component of clinical depression. And it's very hard to define because if you look at Miki Nico's situation, Miki Nico went through a lot of, she goes through highs and lows, and they define that as a manic depression, where you have extremely high cycles where you're just go, and you, it's like you are almost destructive to the point of being destructive, which was very much where Miki Nico was. And then you have the very lows where it's like you can barely get out of bed, that, and those last for days, weeks, sometimes even months. I want to think that, I want to believe that Haachama may have been going through something like that, because there were a lot of things that she did in the past where it seemed like they were either extreme, or they were like very detrimental to not just herself, and it wasn't just to like get a rise out of people. It almost seemed like she was being detrimental towards herself, and one just has to look at like her cooking streams to recognize that. And part of me in retrospect thinks that a lot of the cooking streams was partly I'm getting attention, but then there was the other half of her that was like, I can push this further, I can push this further, I can push this further. Now, there's an argument to be made that a lot of it could have just been in character, all right, and I'm not going to discount that, because I believe that Haachama as a character was very much something that was looked at, it was thought through, it was approved, it was a smart move for her, because it kind of separated her from the other person that I kept getting her confused with at one point, Aki Rose, because they look just like sisters, and they're with their outfits, their costume designs, and everything else. I mean, they basically, one was like just a taller version of the other one. I was like, wait a minute, is that Aki? Is that I mean, and even the names, you have Aki Rose, and then you have Aki Hato, so. I think the shift to Haachama was actually a good move on a business standpoint for her to stand out. That being said, it almost seemed like it was a too good of a reflection of what she was going through in real life. What she was able to be herself while also being in character. And I've always said that VTubers are very misleading of themselves, because when you watch a VTuber, in many ways you are seeing we express ourselves through our avatars. Yes, I am not really, an Okomi, I'm not really a wolf guy, this is not what I look like in real life. However, the person that you express through your avatar is a reflection of part of yourself. It may only be 10% of you, or maybe 15% of you, however, but it's still part of what's inside of you that you are expressing outwards. It's an avenue of being able to express yourself. It may not be you, however, it is still a part of you, and that's and I think that personally, I think that there was a lot of Haachama and Hato that was actually her, just pure, raw, uncut her. And that, again, that is personal opinion. However, I will say that many of the Hololive girls have, said on many times that, they have fun, and they embrace their avatar, and that they are, they are net idols, and they are anime girls in front of everyone. However, at the same time, being able to do what they're doing allows them to be themselves and express themselves. And like, just take Coroni for example. Corone, not Coroni, Corone. If you take Corone and you listen to her 3 years ago, I mean, she's even said, if I was not part of Hololive, if I was not here in front of you right now, I wouldn't be able to be me. I would just be in my apartment or my house playing retro games by myself, and I wouldn't be talking to anyone. I would go to work, come home, and then sit here and play retro games. That's it. And she even asked, she's like, do you guys even like this stuff? And everyone's like, yeah, we love it. You are the anime girl that many of us wish we would have had, growing up, because you love these types of games, So, anyways, let's see. Let's look back here. I like to be that on that Hollow Earth. Just that need good medicine. Well, I'm hoping Hollow Earth will be more than what I'm thinking it's going to end up being. You gotta cross your fingers on that. Hopefully they develop it where it will be the place that we want it to be. I'll leave that conversation for another time because I have a lot to say about that. But yeah. Isn't she recently happy? Wiley, who were you talking about when you said that? Were you talking about Miki Nico? Or were you talking about you express yourself as a knight one way or the other? Well, our online persona allows us to wear a mask. Whether it be a VTuber character or just the name or the avatar that we talk behind. And that's what I think that's the difference between what a lot of VTubers how they try to explain it versus what they actually mean is, we are still ourselves in a lot of ways. We're just wearing a mask in front of everyone. It's a digital mask, but it's a mask, and a mask can hide your what you really look like or what your real identity is. However, there's always going to be some tells of who you actually are when you talk, how you speak, or the words that come out. And the third one is what everyone tries to be careful about, because what we say goes on record, and what we say, it ends up being used against you. And I mean, you guys, many of you guys saw that when I had my dispute with Charlotte Suzu from Production Kawaii. She tried to use a lot of things against me that I either said or did in the past, and I was able to turn back around and say, no, this is what I said, this is what I did. It's part of, it's out there, it's in public. You can go back and look at it, So, I mean, you have to be very careful about what you say or do. But at the same time, you also, it doesn't discount who you are. And just because you're wearing a mask doesn't mean you can't be who you are, And that's what I always try to express to every VTuber out there, whether it be, somebody that's new or somebody that's a senpai to me. It's like, if you be who you are, and allow who you are to shine through, your avatar. People are gonna like you for who you are, and you're not gonna feel like or be worried about people hating you. If they don't like you, they aren't gonna like you for who you are. Not for what you're saying or doing. And that's fine. Not everyone's gonna love everyone. Not everyone's made for everyone. I mean, that's part of why we have choice. That's why you have, your say-so girl on one side, and then you have your raunchy debauchery type of girl on the other side. It's who are you trying to sell, or what, and what are you trying to sell? Is if you are not who you are in public, or not, or if you're trying to sell somebody that you're not, you're gonna get exposed for it, plain and simple. And I think that's where a lot of the girls from Hollow Myth are at right now, and it's partly why I don't watch them either, because they sold people on an idea or a concept of who they were, and then a lot of us started realizing, hey, this isn't who they said that they were, or what they were trying to be, or what they were trying to strive to be. And so we left, some quicker than others. I mean, Ame has always been Ame, and a lot of people loved her, hate her, but I mean, that's why she has the nickname of being a gremlin, right? Gura, on the other hand, Gura metamorphosized from trying to be a say-so girl with occasional slips to being another gremlin. I mean, that's partly why, unfortunately, I don't enjoy watching her anymore, because at one point it looked like she was really trying to be something that she wasn't, but it finally came out. I mean, that's why her when she released that one, her first actual single, and if you read the lyrics extremely closely, I mean, she even states in the lyrics, this isn't who I am. This isn't what I want to be. This, I'm going to be who I want to be, and, if you don't like it, you can walk away, and that's kind of where the flip happened, where she's like, this is who I am. I'm sorry, and that's fine. Be who you want to be, you're not going to get my attention, but you're going to, but be who you want to be, And I think that's with Haachama's statement right here, it very much sounds like she realizes that who she wants to be and what she wants to present people is a healthy person, and she just couldn't go on the way that she was going on without completely wrecking herself. And it's a very heartfelt statement, it's of course been sanitized for PR speak. However, it is also a very heartfelt statement that somebody who wants to be the world's strongest idol, who doesn't want to show weakness in front of people, who wants to present her very best in front of people, and give her 100%, doesn't want you guys to experience this while she's going through it, and that's why she's keeping it away from you, is probably the best thing that she can do from the standpoint she's in, because she knows that we're not going to forget about her. She knows that we're here waiting for her, right? And so she's not afraid of I have to go take care of myself so I can come back and be the person you want me to be, type thing, which is very, very, very solid. Now, hey, how's it going? Welcome. I haven't seen you in quite a while. I am taking care of myself as well. I will do a completely different stream and talk about that kind of stuff later. However, I'm doing okay. I'm recovering pretty well from the respiratory problems I've had with the Canadian wildfire smoke that's been filtering into the United States. Long story short, I had a lot of respiratory problems, and my lungs were like in a really, really bad shape for several days, but it's been clearing up, so I'm doing okay. So welcome. Yeah, some people really do their best to put themselves into their persona, right? And I believe Haachama is that person, is one of those people where she tends to try to let people kind of just get a peek of what's in her brain. And part of it is where she tries to share some of the things that she enjoys with her fans, and then she also tries to embody the type of person that she wanted to be in real life, or the person that seems to reflect the type of person that she would be if you're right in front of her, type thing, right? Extremely long story short, just because I have dove into the dark side of the internet when I was snooping on behalf of Mickey Nico. I basically was extremely long story short. I ended up getting access to a lot of malicious groups out there who were at the time they were doing everything. And if you are a Mickey Nico fan, you know that there was a massive smear campaign against her, right? And I happened to gain access to a number of those groups, right? And they have a long network of building info and archiving info on they did it on Mickey Nico. They did they have info on Haachama. They have info on Noelle. They have info on a number of them. Keisan back when she was Coco. Some of them are Chinese affiliated. Some of them so on and so forth. All right. Long story short. Anyways, and a lot of them ended up leaking some of that stuff, including like pictures of real life pictures and everything online, and some of them include Haachama, right? And Haachama does appear, or at least in person, she appears to be the type of girl that may be mischievous in real life, and not necessarily she'll play by the rules as much as she can, but she's probably not the type that also gets in a lot of trouble. And it may not necessarily be because either she does it intentionally, or if she does it to provoke other people. I think part of it may be personality, but part of it may also be a behavioral issue, which could also explain why she had to go through a hospitalization and a medication regimen process. If she has some kind of, and this is speculation, all right? However, if she had some kind of undiagnosed behavioral issue that has not never been treated, that required her to either be under observation for proper diagnosis, that could explain why she was hospitalized. That doesn't mean that she's a psycho in real life. Don't support her. I'm not saying that, okay? Because obviously she's been able to function in real life. She's been able to live and function in real life. She has, she's holding down a job. She's making an income. She's taking care of herself. She has a family and friend network. All the societal indicators indicating that, you know, she is a detriment is non-existent. None of those things exist. You know, and you know, her stating that she's been hospitalized at one point because she was getting treatment does not mean that she was, you know, game over. All right, that does not and I want to make that very apparent, is that there's no indication that she was actually thinking about doing a game over at all. All right, now there is a case to be made that if you look at like her videos, you know, especially with the Haachama and the Hayato, videos in the past, there may have been an indication of a game over type of mentality back then. However, there's also an indication that there may have been a metaphor for, I know there's something wrong inside. This is not who I want to be. I want to be something better than what I am, and I need help. You know, that could have been what the metaphor was back then. If you look at her music, all right. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not saying one thing or the other. However, this is based on observation and based on, you know, my assumption. This is my personal opinion. But there's no indication that, you know, she was thinking game over, you know, goodbye, all that other stuff. No, there's none of that. All right. So, people do put a lot of in the hating. They put more. I swear, people put more energy in the hating others on the internet than they do doing good. And if more people were putting energy into, you know, supporting the people that they love instead of hating on the people that they hate, you know, I think Twitter would be a substantially better place. I think the internet would be a substantially better place, and I think a lot of people would probably benefit from it more than they benefit from the hate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no reason to hate on these girls. These girls are just trying to do what they love. I mean, they haven't given any indication of that. And that's the other thing too, is we have to realize that, you know, Haachama has gone through numerous hate-filled campaigns against her as well, and she endured them. And she did take time off at one point. She did take time off during those hate campaigns. However, she's endured hate campaigns for what, 2 years, almost 2 years. You know, and it calmed down. Here it did calm down for a number of months, especially in 2023. But if you look at from like 2020 through 2022, she's endured numerous hate campaigns against her. Some of it involved, you know, with the whole China incident type thing, you know, or Taiwan incident or whatever. And then there was another campaign after that against her. There were 2 organized campaigns that I know of that were against her, specifically against her. And it is, she endured the hate so much. And, you know, she did prove, she, beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I totally, you know, I totally commend her for being as strong as she has been, putting up with that type of stuff. Because I know I would have been like, man, this is too much. I mean, I'm just gonna walk away from this type thing. You know, I'm gonna walk away. Maybe I'll come back, you know, later. But I'm walking away from it right now. But she was like, no, I'm gonna come in the office every day. I'm gonna do what I want to do what I love to do, and I'm not gonna listen to it. You know, you know, and us as fans, you know, and her moderator crew and everyone else, you know, we did our best to tolerate it and to turn it off, tune it out, stop it. Her moderators tried their best to stop it and erase it and try to use the tools that they had available to them. But I mean, they didn't scare anybody away. If you look at her stats stayed strong through the entire thing. She didn't lose anybody. She gained more than she lost. So, I think the only thing that that they may have won is the eventual wear down of her mental health, but it didn't happen right away, and it certainly didn't happen only because of them. It was very malicious, very very malicious. Now, as far as what medications she may be on, it's really hard to say because she doesn't she doesn't really spell out what she's dealing with, and we don't really we could speculate what she's dealing with, but without actually knowing what she's dealing with, it's very hard to speculate. Now, what we can say is if she's dealing with they don't use the multi-axis type of diagnosis anymore. They use a different pattern now, a different way of spelling out the diagnosis, and a lot of it has to do with groupings of the mental indicators, which either indicate a mental illness or they define everything as mental illness now, especially with because I'm gonna say the word, and I'm only gonna say the word because I'm using it as reference right now. In the old days, they used to use mental disabilities and mental retardation, which basically is the impediment of mental growth. Okay, the word retardation means to impede. It's not necessarily a slang word or a malicious word to use. That's the actual definition of it. All right. And basically, it's a word to define the impediment of mental growth, which basically means that at some point, a person's mental acuity and mental ability to naturally develop has been impeded, either because of something that's happening in the brain or because of outside stimulus that impedes the behavioral growth, or it's an adoption of a behavior based upon observation and environment. Okay, that's what it means. That's what the actual meaning of that word is. Now, and nowadays they define everything as pretty much being a disease or an illness, because that's the better definition and clinical definition of what it is. You have, they call it a mental disease, they call it a mental illness. But again, hospitalization has a stigma in its own, because when you think hospitalization because of mental illness, you automatically think, white walls, padded rooms, straitjackets, and none of that is actually factual. And especially in the developed world, most places nowadays don't even have they limit the number of padded rooms that they have, unless somebody is actually physically being a danger to themselves, because in most developed countries now, if you put somebody in a padded room and you lock them in there, that's incarceration. And unless you are defined by law to incarcerate people, especially against their will, or without a not a disclaimer, but a release from either their guardian or somebody who has, you know, the mental acuity to recognize, hey, we're allowing this entity to incarcerate them, unless they sign that waiver, you legally can't incarcerate them. If you voluntarily go in for hospitalization, then that's one thing. But if you're in there voluntarily, you can also voluntarily discharge yourself. So again, that's not incarceration, and that's not that's the picture that they try to avoid people getting. And unfortunately, that's just part of the public consciousness when they think mental health and hospitalization, and they think people are going wacky and people doing all sorts of weird things, and some of that's true. There is a lot of mental health out there, especially if they have a significant mental issue, where they self-abuse and they hurt themselves, and there's a lot. I mean, I've seen lots of stuff. I've seen so much stuff you guys wouldn't believe. Some of that stuff is true, but it's not like the norm, and that's not where Akai went. Haachama did not go into a nut place where she's right now sitting in a straitjacket. That's not where she's at, and that's not where she's been. Again, hospitalization, a lot of it has to do with they'll do a 48-hour observation of your faculties, what you can do, how you take care of yourselves, whether or not you are showing compulsion about anything, whether or not you're showing anxiety. They'll give you there's at the standard in the United States, there's 300 questions that they ask you to gain an idea of where you're at. That are true false type questions. They'll ask you stuff like, I mean, do you feel like it's worth waking up in the morning? Do you enjoy your going to your job? Do you enjoy going home to see your family? Do you enjoy hang out when do you feel alone when you're with your friends? Those types of things. They'll ask questions like that. But yeah, her expressing that she is afraid of the word hospitalization. I mean, that's basically what it means. She didn't want people to worry that she was, in the worst possible state. Whether or not she's taking something like Prozac or Tramadol, or she's taking, whether or not she's taking. I mean, she could be taking Vyvanse for compulsion. I mean, they could have given her Tramadol to calm her down. They could have given her bus bar for anxiety. They could have been they could have given her Prozac for antidepressant. There's a number of things that they could have given her, but we don't know, and we don't know the exact diagnosis that she's going through. Yeah, you need them to get on a mental health plan, and a lot of those are standardized now, where they they ask those questions to gain a perspective of where you are mentally. And whether or not you need counseling, or if you need medications, if there's a chemical imbalance in your brain or in your body. Some of it is just plain chemical imbalances. I mean, I know women go through it more than men, and they're, especially when women are either developing or they're going through different stages in life, that chemical imbalances can happen. It's normal. It's not something to be afraid of. It's not something to be, definitely it's okay to worry about her, and be concerned because, you want her to be better. However, it does sound like she's in very capable hands. Just to get to the point where she can write something like this, where she's calm, and collective enough to put a statement like this together, and state, this is what's happening, and it's a moment of it's definitely not a moment of weakness on her part. If anything, it's a moment of strength, because when you can tell the people that you love and the people that are waiting for you, when you can tell them, what you're currently facing, and not be afraid of the repercussions of putting that out there, that's strength. That's not weakness. And I want people to recognize that. Most of all, I want people to realize that she is, a lot stronger for coming out and saying, hey, I have a problem, I'm taking care of it, and when I'm back, that means that I have overcome that problem, or I'm capable of handling this problem, is a better way of looking at it, because mental health is a lifelong issue. And that's something that I also want people to be aware of, is that mental health is always, it doesn't go away with medication, and it doesn't go away with counseling. It's something that you live with, and it can get worse. It can get better, and it could also, be something that, with treatment, it's always handled, so you don't have to face it, publicly. And people don't have to experience it, public, you don't have to, show people that you're experiencing it. You can do other things. I think she doesn't want this to define her, because she wants to be able to define herself through, her music and her character, which is great. Her character is very much a reflection of mental health, which, she may also struggle with when she returns. However, I would encourage everyone who watches this, and everyone who, tunes into her when she comes back, to, be accepting of who she is when she comes back. And if she's not extreme like she used to be, it's fine, and accept that. If Haachama is not as extreme as she used to be, it's fine, and please accept that. Because honestly, when you do something so much, and you spend, and I tell this to every VTuber as well, when you spend 4, 6, 8 hours a day acting like one thing, that is part of who you are. It doesn't matter if you're able to switch it off as soon as you turn off your mic. It's still part of who you are. It's still part of your routine. Every single day, as soon as you turn on that mic, you are what you're saying and doing on screen. It's a reflection of who you are. It's part of your personality, and you start developing a split personality, in a sense, because I'm certainly not as outspoken as I am when I'm on the mic. I wouldn't even begin to talk about this kind of stuff when I'm in person, much less with a friend that's, maybe dealing with this offline. I would handle this personally between myself and that person, or maybe that person and their family or whatever, but that's it. I'm not going to be sitting here trying to tell everyone, hey, all everyone who's friends with this is what they're dealing with, and this is how we need to handle this. I wouldn't do that. I'm very quiet when I'm not online, you know. But I do feel like this is important because, again, you know, I just showed you 10 people who deal with this that are, you know, in Hololive. I deal with it. I know Kason on some level deals with it, but she handles her business and she's able to handle her business. Mickey Nico went through it. I mean, there are literally hundreds or not thousands of us who deal with it that are VTubers. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, the LBGT community, a lot of them who are not part of the outspoken wave of hatred and vitriol that happened, you know, in the last few months, a lot of them are dealing with that stuff because were using being a VTuber as an escape, and then they ended up having to put up with all the people who are fighting against, you know, the activists on their side, you know, that were trying to push a lot of this stuff, you know. And so, you know, a lot of them are cowering, you know, and a lot of them, you know, dealt with stress and depression. I mean, a lot of them already deal with it, you know, and it just exacerbated that even more. So, you know, and I'm not going to get into that entire topic, but you know, it's something that, you know, every person, whether they're big or small, or, you know, that they are somebody like, you know, like Haachama, or somebody like me who doesn't have a huge, you know, following. We all deal with this on some level, either because we are, you know, either worried about views, or whether or not we're being entertaining, whether or not we are, you know, capturing an audience. For them, obviously, it's, you know, they're trying to juggle performance, music, you know, doing meetings, doing presentations, doing, you know, events, doing live shows, whatever, you know. That's what they're dealing with. And that could be a lot. You know, I personally don't know if I could handle actually, you know, doing what their workload, because a lot of them are also, you know, trying to put together like graphics and doing a lot of other stuff on the side too, you know, so that's a lot. I think at least I think almost every single one of them hold down at least, you know, they do Hololive, but then they're also working another job, and I believe a lot of them are even doing stuff like illustrations and you know, sound mixing and all sorts of other things on the side. So a lot of them are working even like a third job on the side, and that could be a lot. So but yeah, she wanted to reassure everyone it's not life threatening. You know, things are okay. She's not. There's no game over thoughts in there. She's not gonna have to. You know, we're not gonna have to worry about hitting the continue button or anything like that. So that's good. And that she is, you know, it is gonna take time for her to recover. You know, mental health is not something that, again, is just curable with a pill. It does. You know, you can't give somebody just 6 months and they recover. I've told people this over and over and over again. You know, yeah, my mother passed away, you know, a year and, oh gosh, it's almost going to be 2 years now. You know, it's been like a year and 10 months. It's been like, yeah, about 22 months probably now. It doesn't mean it gets any easier. And if you are close to a family member and you lose them, you know, and you watch them waste away in front of you, you know, it's not something you just get over. You know, yeah, you move on from it, but you don't get over it. You know, and that's a good metaphor for mental health. You know, yeah, just because you go get, you know, help for it or you get treatment for it doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean you're better, but it doesn't mean that it's completely gone and it's completely cured. it may be treated, but it's something that, you'll always, be living with, and you'll always be wondering, okay, I'm okay now, but if it comes back, I'm going to have to deal with it again. So it's something that we need to be aware of, that, she wants to come back and be her best. And she wants to come back, and she wants to present herself the best version of her. And, it may take a while. She's already been gone for a number of months now. Maybe she'll be back, by the fall. Maybe she'll be back by the winter. We don't know. We don't know if they had to take her off all of her medications because of the side effects, and that's what she's, and they didn't put her back on anything else. That's a possibility, because when you are taken off, when you're taken off of medications that are treating a psychological situation or behavior, you have to allow those medications to exit your body, and that can take like a week or two. And in which case they usually want you to return to what they call baseline, behavioral wise. So when they add a new medication, they can see what the results are for the treatment, and whether or not it's making a significant difference, or if you're experiencing different behaviors, that kind of thing. So it's that could be part of it. The other part of it could be that there are some medications out there that work to stimulate chemicals in either your brain or different parts of your body. They stimulate the component inside of you that generates the specific chemical. Some of it, they use it to kind of jumpstart the production of that chemical, and then they can take you off of it. So I mean, that could also be a possibility. We just don't know. But the important thing is that whether or not she is still on the medication regimen, or they've had to put her on something else, it's going to take time. And they'll need to be able to have time to observe and make sure that she is responding to that medication, before they say, okay, let's go with that. Why did that cut off? Oh well. Yeah, time heals wounds, but they never put the amount of time because meet and greet. Okay, that's cool. Mental health is very much a stigma. Why did that cut off? Oh, that's right, because I hit an error when I tweeted this, and I had to resend it. Can I still edit this? No, I can't. Oh well. So anyways, yeah, that's about it. That's about all that we can really glean from her statement here. It's we're very fortunate for her though, that she that Hololive seems to be supportive of and they recognize the value of her as a talent, to the point where they haven't said, we don't know when you're going to be back, we're going to cut you loose type of thing. I mean, there are some countries and some some agencies out there where, if you're non-productive for X amount of time, they just, cut you loose. And I think it's, if I wanted to rate the my feelings towards this entire situation, and rate how I feel with especially with Hololive responding to this kind of thing, I would say that I definitely feel much more secure with Hololive in the way of their response towards the situation, because we've kind of seen in the past where it went, especially before they released their, went public with their IPO, that they tended to, cut loose everything that was too much of a bother. And mental health didn't exactly seem to be a priority in their group back then, back in 2019, 2020. It very much seemed to be a back burner type thing compared to you have to get out there, put out, make content. We have to grow, we have to X, Y, and Z, that type of thing. And if you look at the business model back then, it was very it was very much centered on if you're not giving to the brand, then why are we keeping you around type thing. And if you were detrimental towards the brand, we're cutting you loose. There's been plenty of that in the last couple years. Fortunately for us, we are not seeing the loss of Haachama on any level. What we're seeing is the support of her. I honestly hope that Cover and Hololive continue to show this level of love and support towards her, because I honestly feel like as Hololive has grown, they have increasingly shown a level of support towards their talent that, while it seems like it's way behind where it should be in response or being proactive with their talent, they're at least making an effort. If you look at the just on the financial side of things, you can see that Hololive has assumed responsibility of their merchandise sales now for all the talent. Whereas before, the talent had to pay for their deposits and for the manufacturing of their own merch, their own cover core Hololive merch up front out of their own pockets and paychecks. Now Hololive is doing that first, doing that for them, so it can just be, the designs get approved, they get made, they're sent off, the money is already there, it's allocated, the deposit's already been made, they just have to make the product, and the product's shipped out. It's still delayed because of COVID, but at least at the Hololive is paying that, which is a great burden off of the talent, because I know the talent themselves had to recoup their own costs from, and some of them, I mean, I know like Lami would talk about how she was broke because she had to pay $10,000 or whatever just to get her merch made, which is really bad on having to worry about that when you're company isn't taking care of it. But at least Hololive is showing support towards her because of the situation she's in, and they're not that they're thinking long term, they're not thinking short term, which is good. Also it seems like they are at least giving their talent more time off, and they're able to schedule things in advance, so they can say, I need this time off, and schedule it in advance. So whereas before it always seemed like they were afraid to ask for time off, now it seems like they're more willing to allow their talent to take time off to take care of themselves, or their own well-being, which is good. Because I mean, if you can't be healthy, mentally or physically, how are you going to be able to perform? So I do hope, though, that their managers are being more vigilant with their talent, and that they recognize or start recognizing the signs of either mental decline or the the need for them to take time off. I know that a lot of them have a very good rapport with their managers, so they're able to talk to them either on the clock or off the clock. So I mean, that's always a plus. However, I do hope that they're remain vigilant, so they don't get to this point where they've had such a decline where they have to take this amount of time off in order to address the problem. Because we don't want any of the Hololive members to get to that point. So with that being said, I think we've covered everything that we need to cover here. And I don't believe. Welcome back. I do think that overall, even if this feels like a kind of a negative thing. Hey, they just changed the. They just went live with the whole, we're changing this to, we're now officially the X network. We're all Xing. We're all now. I am now officially, if I stream on Twitter, I'm now doing an X video. Yeah. I wonder how much money he paid for that. What a mess, huh? We're now officially part of the X network. Oh man, I don't know about that, Mr. Mr. Musk. I'm seriously questioning your I seriously wonder if when he thought of changing everything to that, whether or not it was like his 16-year-old schoolboy mentality that thought it was a brilliant idea or not. Let's see here. Okay, at least that sentence I cut off wasn't anything. She basically said, I'm happy to report today that I've been able to keep in touch with my family and manager while hospitalized. That was the part I although I still need to rest and recover, I feel more calm, and I'm able to report today. Oh, I'm able to report today thanks to keeping in touch with my manager and family. Okay, that's what was cut off. Okay. Yeah, we are X. The cool T2, welcome to the chat. Thank you for dropping in. Hey, like I was like I have been saying, you know, it's okay to feel worried about Haachama. It's perfectly okay, you know. But be rest assured that she is getting the help that she needs. Was a membership badge? No, I don't have memberships yet. I kind of want to, but I kind of don't. By the way, I am not monetized or sponsored or anything like that. So I don't have any of that stuff. But I do this on my own free time. So, but membership badge would be cool. But I haven't even thought that far yet. So. But yeah, welcome to the chat. Yeah, it's okay to feel feel worried about Haachama. It's okay to feel sad that she's still spending some time away from streaming. However, be rest assured that she does seem to be in good hands. According to everything that she said, it sounds like she has a good team that she's working with. She did have problems with her medication, and suffered some side effects from it. However, if she's able to release a statement like this, and also, had the ability to go home after, being in the hospital for a while, that means she's on the right path to getting better, and that's a positive thing. There are positives to take away from this. So don't feel worried or afraid that it's everything is going downhill with her. We just gotta stay positive and make sure that we don't over exaggerate or overreact towards her situation. So when she comes back, we can welcome her back. I think that she's gonna come back, and she's gonna be even stronger, probably even funnier, and probably even more in better spirits than she was when she left. Obviously she wants to be able to put up a strong front in front of everyone. But I am willing to bet that when she comes back, she's probably going to spend at least part of her first stream back, trying to hold it in, because she's gonna see the outpouring of support towards her, and it's gonna be a lot. I think it's also important that we don't pry too much into exactly what she's dealing with. I mean, it's nice to be able to know so we can talk about it and explain it to people, exactly what she's dealing with. However, mental health is also a very personal thing, even though it does affect a lot of people, outside of the person itself. So when you try to talk about mental health, a lot of people cannot be as open as I am about it, because they feel like it's talking about that they feel like they're talking about the problems, and when you start trying to explain the things that you're going through, number one, you're opening yourself up to your most vulnerable spots open towards people, and number two, you're afraid of the retaliation or the reaction towards it. And a lot of people walk away from it. They hear that you're struggling through something, and they walk away from it because they feel like, well, if that's what those are your problems, I'm not going to deal with them, so why are you telling me? So they walk away from it. And then the other part is, the person, they kind of want to explain it, and they kind of want to talk about it because they want you to understand, that, hey, this is what I'm dealing with or what I've gone through. And then they feel, hurt by the people that walk away, or the people that accuse them, or, they feel like, they're being attacked because, they had a problem, and so they don't feel like it's worth talking about because they're afraid of the reaction. And that's the conundrum that you end up being in when you're a streamer too, as well. Is, do I talk about what I'm going through? Do I not talk about what I'm going through? Am I going to lose people because of it? Who's going to walk away from me because of the problems I'm facing? And so that's the conundrum that she obviously went through. And, that's why she basically said, I have to go on hiatus. I need to take care of my health. My health is declining. I'm sorry, I'm going to be away for a while. And that's why she didn't say anything else until now. Because she didn't know. And she still doesn't know. She probably knows now. But she didn't know at the time that she released this statement how people would react to it. And that's why, when she says, I was afraid if I used the word hospitalization, everyone... to everyone without being able to say anything positive, it would cause people to worry and become anxious of the situation. It's a very true statement. Because, the stigma of hospitalization with mental illness is a big thing. The stigma of people leaving or walking away because they feel like, you're this big star, you're making all this money and you're a big star, and you're saying that you're struggling with your mental health. People, she's afraid people will say that, and that's another reason why she was afraid, and she doesn't want to look weak in front of people. I also didn't want to show anyone my weakness, it's a very personal thing that she's struggling with, and that's probably why she didn't come out and say, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. Unlike Miki and Nico, Miki and Nico, was open about the type of mental, disease and illness that she was struggling with. And her saying it explains a lot. It explains a lot of her behavior and what she's gone through. And even the treatment that she's getting, it explains a lot. With Haachama, she doesn't want to show this, weakness in front of everyone. And I mean, who could blame her? She's established, a character, arc, several traits within a defined character. She wants to be, the world's strongest idol. That she wants to be able to claim that moniker. She wants to be able to, come out and be, a performer for everyone. And she doesn't want to see people vulnerable, she doesn't want people to see her in a vulnerable state. And I can respect that. A lot of, I mean, if I were to, compare this to, like, my mother, for example, my mother didn't want me to see her suffering from cancer, before she passed. and she said over and over and over again, I want you to remember me as I was, as your mother. I don't want you to, I want you to think of me while I was still healthy, while I was still laughing and talking to you and hugging you, not while I'm laying in bed and I can't move because of the cancer. I don't want you to think, remember, I don't want this to be your last image of me, and that's kind of where she's at right now. Is she had the crazy Haachama persona, then she had the very innocent Seiso Haito persona, and she had the split personality. And obviously, if you were to take it in character, Haachama being restrained because of her craziness would just be fitting for the character. However, she has the realization that, as a person, she doesn't want you to remember her as that, and this, she doesn't want you to think that's what she's going through, and worry that she's, in a hospital somewhere, never coming back. She doesn't want you thinking of her that way. She wants you to think of her as, I'm Haachama. I have had to take a break. I'm taking care of my stuff, and when I come back, I'm gonna be the same person I am, or I'm gonna be better than I was when I left. I think that was also why she was fighting so hard just to get to the festival, because she felt like she had an obligation to be an idol up to the festival and be there, and she didn't make some of her, I think like one or two of her appearances, but she was still able to fight through all that. It's hard. It's very hard, but we don't know when she's gonna be back. I do hope it's sooner rather than later, but if it's later, it's worth the wait. Mana, I didn't include Mana on the list because there were also other complications involved with what happened with her. But I mean, you could definitely include her on the list of people in Hololive that had things that went on. I think that and part of the reason why I didn't include her as well is because a lot of people they recognize the name, but they don't recognize exactly what's going on or what happened with her. I know that she went through a lot as well, and that it's a very big struggle for her to when she went through the whole he said she said type thing, and to be able to lose your opportunity the way she lost her opportunity was huge. I think after I think she's been able to do a great job to recover to where she is now. I personally don't watch her on a regular basis now, but I do tune in from her stream from time to time, just to just to see what she's up to, because I love her current character design. I don't know what it is about her current character design, but I absolutely adore it for some reason. It's like it's like the right balance of like I'm a take charge type of person, but I'm gonna look very cute while doing it type thing. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I do think she's done a great job. However, she was able to bounce back on her own. It couldn't have been easy. It really couldn't have been. But there's a lot of there's a lot of other streamers as well that have gone through a lot of stuff that have had unfortunate incidents either with with their agencies or with stalker fans or with just a lot of people. And a lot of them, some of them have quit, some of them have just secretly started elsewhere, and they enjoy being small because they're insulated from all the vitriol that's out there, and but there's just as many that have been able to slowly bounce back to get to where they want to be, either as an independent streamer or within our company or whatever. But it's a difficult process, and it's very taxing mentally. When you're independent, you end up doing everything by yourself. You do, and if you don't promote yourself, like I don't promote myself, you're gonna stay small, But I like being small, Do I want to be bigger? Sure. But I'm fine where I'm at, but the important thing I think is that we need to recognize that mental health and streaming are very much they go hand in hand, and I don't believe people recognize the fact that there's a lot of extremes that come with being a streamer. Whether you're a live streamer or a VTuber, there are a lot of extremes that come along with it, and you see it in a lot of people where they have an egotistical look at themselves and their channel. It's narcissist. They have a narcissist type of mentality, where everything that they do is pretty much right. They can never admit that they're wrong. They have to look and they have to be perfect. And even if they're wrong, they'll never admit to it because they're perfect. There is a very real mentality where they just they're full of themselves, for lack of a better word. And then you have then you have other streamers out there who are they live with a mental illness or disability, and they use streaming purely as an escape. I've met so many streamers who feel like they can only be themselves when they stream, and then as soon as they return to real life, their real life is hell, or that's what they say. And so streaming is basically an escape for them. And while that's while it's good for a distraction, it's not necessarily good for their mental health, because they lose themselves into pretty much a fantasy world. The only difference is that they are doing it in front of people. And in the long run, it's not really healthy. Because then you're not facing reality, basically. So, if you want to actually be mentally healthy, it's important to see a professional on the situation, not be afraid of talking to and getting counseling from someone who is either licensed as a in the field, or get your doctor to refer you to somebody. because it's way too easy to escape what what you're facing, either through drugs or through streaming or whatever. And if you don't treat the problem, it's only going to get worse, and you end up getting to the point where you end up with hospitalization. You end up with long recovery times, and you end up just having to work through so many more problems because you've waited or procrastinated, or you've run away from the problem to begin with. And so I always I applaud Haachama, just like I was very proud of Miki Nico when she went and got professional help, because that means that they took the first step towards recovery and being who they actually want to be. And look at Miki and Nico now. I mean, she's successful on her own. She's been able to bounce back on her own. She's been able to get out there and do what she wants to do again, and she's not struggling in the meantime. So I mean, I'm very proud of the recovery she's made. Yeah, being able to talk about it is refreshing, and I don't think it's a problem to me, and that's why my channel exists, is because I don't have a problem talking about stuff, whether it be real life stuff, whether it be non-real life stuff, as long as it doesn't involve like hating on other people, using derogatory terms or racist terms. It's like you can't come in here and say you have a problem with a particular race or religion or something like that. However, if someone's struggling with something, I don't have a problem talking about it, because I've gone through it, or something similar to it, or I probably have worked with somebody who has had that same problem. When I did 7 years working in the in the psych ward. So chances are I probably worked with somebody that has dealt with it, so I can understand where they're coming from. So it's not, working in mental health for 7 years has given me a huge perspective of what people deal with, either privately or publicly. And so it's not, when I see somebody who is dealing, that has a severe mental illness, in public, or has a physical deformity, and because they were born that way, a lot of people, they look at them and they just kind of like, they scoot away or they make fun of them, right? If they walk up to me and they try to talk to me, I'll talk to them about it. I'll talk to them, about life. I'll ask them how they're doing. Ask them what their name is. How they're doing. What are you here shopping for? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Or whatever. I don't. They're a person to me. You are a person to me. It doesn't matter. What you're facing. You're still a person to me. And if you come in and legitimately are sincere and want need someone to talk to about something, hey, if I can give you a perspective on it, I'll give you a perspective on it. If I can't, I'm going to tell you, you need to seek help in your, your country or state or whatever that you live in, but it's important to talk about these things and not just, report, today, today in today's news. Akai Hayato, reported that she was hospitalized for a little bit and she's still on hiatus, due to her health. We wish you the very best, and that's it. I mean, that's what most people, say. Well, if your idol says X, you need to say Y. And it's like, no. We need to talk about this. This is legitimately what she's facing. I mean, if you're actually a fan of hers and care about her enough, you'll want to know exactly what she's dealing with. It doesn't mean that you're taking her problem on. It means that you want to know what's going on with her. I mean, that's the best way you can support somebody, is to know what's going on with her, and talk about it. Not just say, oh, it's a piece of paper. Okay, I'm gonna put the paper down now. I mean, don't you care about what was on the paper? I want to be able to provide perspective towards what's going on with people, because if you just look at it as a pure unadulterated statement, all you're doing is looking at it and it's like, okay, it's a piece of paper. And it's more than a piece of paper. I mean, this screen here is an expression of her feelings that she's trying to use to reach out to you. She wants you to understand what she's going through. It's not just purely a statement that you take and then you move on with your life. If you care about Haachama as a performer, streamer, or an actor or an actress or whatever, I mean, this is a person's feelings that, as much as they're being allowed to say to you in public, I'm sure she wants to say so much more than just what's on this paper, but she can't. I mean, you have 1.7 million people, 5.7 million people look at this piece of paper. I mean, and out of all of them, you have 111,000 likes. I mean, out of that 5.7, some are just curious, some are casual fans, some just want to know why they haven't seen her in a while. But the now 111.9 thousand people that have liked this, I mean, we legitimately have seen this and are probably talking about it with other people. Or we're having conversations about, either through Discord or through, other Twitter threads or whatever. We are likely all having conversations about what she said and talking about this. Some people are probably asking, well, what does she mean that, that she was hospitalized? What does she mean by this? What does she mean about that? If you don't have that perspective, and if you don't, you can only try to either rationalize it or try to make, or theory craft on it. And unless you've actually worked in the field, and have a perspective of what's going on, it's very hard for a person to understand, what they mean by blank, what they mean by hospitalization. Well, what does she mean that she's had, side effects from the medication? Well, what's going to happen? Those types of things. Why didn't anyone say anything when, after the festival, about her being hospitalized? Well, what happens when you get hospitalized for this type of thing. What does that mean? There's a lot of people that will, they'll ask questions like that and they don't know the answer because they either don't work in the field or they don't know any professionals that work in the field, like I do. I mean, I was talking about something similar to this to a psychologist the other day that I'm friends with, and I was asking him about the because we have outpatient behavioral health clinic nearby, and I was asking him about it. I was like, man, I see a lot of people going in and out of there. And he's like, yeah, well, a lot of them are outpatients. And I'm like, how can you be an outpatient while going into a behavioral health clinic? I thought that was purely an inpatient thing. And that's when he explained to me, how the process works, where you can if you are hospitalized, you're initially hospitalized for evaluation, and then they make a determination whether or not you are mentally capable of making a decision. And if you are mentally capable, but need inpatient therapy, they will tell you, these are your options. If you want to be treated for this, you either have to voluntarily check in, or we could try an outpatient treatment program where you have to report in every single day, but you get to go home and sleep in your own bed, but you have to be here during the day. And for her, it sounds like she was, hospitalized immediately afterwards. And we know for a fact that she was physically exhausted as well as mentally exhausted, which leads me to believe that she was likely also, experiencing some physical issues as well, as either exhaustion, dehydration, any number of the things that can pop up with the amount of work she was putting into everything, But most of all, you end up going in because of observation, and then they determine whether or not you need to actually be in inpatient status in order to be treated. And again, that doesn't mean that they thought she was crazy, so they threw her straitjacket on and locked her away. No, I mean they typically bring you in there and they'll run you through a battery of tests, questions, interviews, monitoring your behavior, how you take care of yourself, what you do when you take care of yourself, how long you spend on, particular things, whether or not you eat, whether or not you consume a healthy diet. They'll probe you with questions asking you why aren't you why are you skipping breakfast and lunch but eating supper? And then if they respond, well, it's because I'm watching my weight. They'll look at your BMI, or actually BMI is incorrect. They'll look at your intake, and they'll also look at your weight, and compare. Well, they still care about BMI in Japan, so I guess they'll take her BMI and then they'll look at it and see whether or not she needs to gain weight, or if she's lost weight, or if she's overweight. I mean, because that could be a concern in itself. I remember, now that I mention it, I think she was concerned about her weight and she was trying to lose weight at some point. So, I mean, they'll see whether or not she has an eating disorder, if that needs to be treated. I mean, there's any number of things that they could be treating her for here. So, but that's the biggest thing. I mean, if you don't know these types of things, and if you aren't observant with what a person's been doing, it's Oreo. Ohio! Welcome, welcome. Do we have confirmation that is mental and not physical? Well, um, based upon her statement, based upon her statement, it sounds like there is a definitely a mental component. Now an argument could be made that that the medications that she was on caused her to have a mental problem, or struggling with something with because of the side effects of the medication. However, the fact that she said that she was hospitalized and that she was part of a program leads me to believe that it was likely mental and not physical. Had this been something that was more physical, unless she was like severely ill, and again, we don't know how long she was actually hospitalized either. She didn't give an exact time frame. However, she did say that, she did use words like finally, and that she was, and that she had temporarily been discharged. That leads me to believe that at some point after the festival, she went to the hospital, and that she was immediately put into a inpatient state. And then, because of her family and family support, she stayed in, and this is just assumptions based upon what she's saying. Because of her, with her family's support, she was able to finally be discharged, and it took her this long in order to make this statement. These are assumptions. However, the assumptions that I'm making make me think that she completely unplugged herself from the internet and from talking to other people, either voluntarily or through admission into some type of program in a hospital, so she could get well. Medications that you would take that would cause a side effect that would be psychological in nature, those typically are either because you're taking it for a mental health condition, or they are stimulants. And I want to say this very carefully. They're stimulants that you take because you're trying to get something to function correctly in your body. Like say, like you're trying to, you have a gland or something that isn't producing like hormones correctly. It's not putting out the correct level of hormones or chemicals, so you add a stimulant to yourself. But even then, that stimulant can be a psychotic medication in nature. And that's something that needs to be monitored. So, and there's nothing in her statement that leads me to believe that she has dealt something like that, both either what she has said now or in the past. Her past behavior, and again, it's hard to state, because I don't have I don't have that kind of like behind the lens type of capability that I had with Rushia and Miki Nico. You know, I can only base my opinion based upon how she's conducted herself as Haachama. But even as, you know, even if you look back at Miki Nico and when she was Rushia, even if you look back in Rushia's past, statements that she's made and her on her channel or through her various streams all led to the fact that she was dealing with manic depression. So, you know, you kind of have to look at, you know, what she said and try to pick apart what's actually character driven and what's actually, you know, personal driven. To me, it seems like Haachama is dealing with something mentally, and this is the result of why she has gone on hiatus. There is obviously a physical component to this where she has, you know, we know that she's worked herself extremely hard, and that, you know, there was a physical limit that she had hit. However, you know, everything that led up to the festival leads me to believe that she was also suffering mentally, and that she was struggling mentally, and that's why she needed to take this hiatus. You know, the statement in itself seems to support that those you know, my opinion, you know, based because of hospitalization, you know, medications, which, you know, if you're working with, you know, psychological medications, that those tend to have a lot of mental side effects, which, you know, can either be positive or negative depending on what they are. You know, and that could be anything from, you know, not being able to control your feelings or thoughts, to having violent outbursts, to, you know, having major swings of, you know, feeling good some days and then depression other days. You know, I mean, there's a lot of just different stuff that you can deal with. And what makes it even harder, though, is the fact that we don't really have a diagnosis or you know, an opinion other than her character that she's presented us, or at least what she said as her character, to drive, you know, the opinion that she is facing X, Y, or Z. So that's why I kind of want to be careful about, you know, just kind of arbitrarily like tossing out saying, well, Haachama is obviously suffering from this, because we don't know. I have suspicions that she is, you know, likely suffering from, you know, either some type of anxiety or, you know, mixed with depression. But those two would all be obvious things that she would be going through as somebody who is a performer. And in many cases, people, you know, end up taking medications for anxiety to either calm down, or if they are suffering from, you know, heavy depression because their streaming life or their professional life has consumed them completely, like a lot of, you know, idols end up having to do, you know, and they don't have much of a personal life because of it, because their life is all consumed with all professionalism. That can also drive depression, and that's what a lot of idols end up having. I mean, if you take, for example, the fact that I'm going to use Kason as a great example here. Kason, almost every picture that she takes of herself, if it's not of herself in her room or whatever streaming, typically it's with another person who is either a streamer or a model or a former Hololive member. And it's almost like your personal life becomes your professional life, because you are basically spending time with other people who are either in the same profession, or all your friends end up being streamers, or the public figures, and that is your personal life pretty much, is mixing it with other professionals. So you don't really get away from it all. You're basically always there. You may not be live on camera all the time, but you are basically mixing it up. And that's not necessarily a bad thing with being friends with other your gen mates or other streamers or anything like that. But that would be like, say, like you're a doctor and you spend your entire you spend 10-12 hours at the clinic looking at patients, and then you immediately go to a seminar for your profession, end up spending 4 more hours there. That's 16 hours of your life right there. And then after that you go and you have dinner with other professionals, and then you go home, and then you sleep for 6 hours, and then your next day your life is like that again, and that's all it is. You don't have time for family or friends, or your fun is with other people in the same profession, and you just happen to be golfing, but you're still talking about work. It's almost kind of like that kind of thing. So you start developing depression because you just want to break from it all. I mean, that's why a lot of doctors, they'll take like 2 or 3 months off, and then they'll go to like some island in the Caribbean, and that way they can get away from everything, and that way they don't have to talk shop. That's why doctors end up, if they don't take, go to extravagant seminars to at least try to have fun, they'll like take it several months off and go to some vacation spot where they don't have to think about treating patients. That's what they do. It's the same thing. Isn't that the same with most jobs? Well, I mean, like, not my job. I go I have to say I'm a little unique, but I mean, even when I worked IT at a hospital, I worked for 10 hours, and then I left work. I didn't think about work again until the next morning. I mean, I worked 10 hours, came home, and either played MMO for a few hours, or I went and hung with friends for several hours. I got to spend time with my my family. And when I say family, I mean my sister, my mother, my father. I got to spend time with people that weren't in IT, didn't work in the hospital. We weren't talking about work. We were talking about literally anything else but work. I mean, you can make friends from work, and and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, still, even now, I think the statistics are like I think it's something like between, well, it depends on where you live, but somewhere between like 36 to like 47%, something like that, of spouses still meet at work. I mean, you don't want to like have a job at a grocery store bagging stuff, and then you sit there and you talk about where food is, or if you stacked, whether you stack the groceries, or if you've, what do they call the stocking shelves, or how many pallets you've moved or anything like that. You don't want to sit there and work at a grocery store for 8 hours and then like leave and then spend another 8 hours talking about stocking groceries when you're not at work. I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. I think most people don't want to do that, but I mean, maybe I'm just the weird one, but I don't do that, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to talk about networking, or cabling, or switches, or router protocols, or computer protocols, or all that other stuff when I don't talk about that when I'm streaming. Definitely not. I mean, my entire life doesn't involve Hololive, or even VTubing or streaming. I mostly, I'll talk about this stuff when I'm streaming, but and I spend time watching streamers, but that's not my entire life. But that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just the weird one. I don't know. But I mean, and that's another thing too, is that when you are trying to deal with treatment of a psychological behavior, and you take somebody into an inpatient status, that's part of why you go into an inpatient status. It's because you're removing the patient from the external factors of what can be affecting them. In her case, you would remove her from being able to to tweet, to write messages online, communication with the outside, talking to other people, no Discord. You would essentially be turning off the internet, and you're focusing solely on yourself. I mean, you could talk about what's affecting you mentally to the doctors and to the staff and whatnot, but you're not necessarily you're not connected to those external stimulants. You're not what do they call it? They call it ego searching yourself, on Reddit, or the internet in general. You're not ego searching to see what people are talking about, saying about you. You're not worrying about all that stuff. You're disconnecting yourself. And it's very possible that she is, that's exactly what she did. Especially if she's, not using, and again, you could use this since she did say a lot, and it probably didn't fit all in the tweet. But at the same time, she is checkmarked, so she could type however much she wanted to. If she was actually, typing this all out on Twitter. But the other fact that, she had her manager deliver this in a tweet here, and I'll quickly, this is, the tweet itself was sent out by her manager. Leads me to believe that the message was handed off to her. And she sent the message to her manager, and then her manager tweeted it, so she doesn't have direct access to her Twitter account, or she's not accessing it herself. So oh, come on, it would be cute and funny. I think that it is likely. I think I think she probably went over the message with her manager. She probably had had what she wanted to say, and she sent it to her manager, and her manager probably read it and offered suggestions to make it more PR. And, in order to, you want to provide a specific image when you're presenting something at this level. Unlike a direct message that's an American or European actor or actress, or even anybody in a public figure would put out directly from them. 90% of what is gone through on Twitter, typically, especially their accounts, their Hololive accounts are highly monitored by the actual staff, especially now that it came out that over the last couple of years that Russia was utilizing her Russia account to send private messages to other people. I am sure that Hololive keeps a closer eye on everything that is sent. Now, that doesn't mean that every single message that is sent through a Hololive account is sent by the manager itself, but the managers have access to all their accounts. And they can see everything that is sent through their accounts. If it's a public statement that is being made by a person in the company, it typically has to go through the manager before it's publicly released. And in this particular case, I am willing to bet that she had a message that she wanted to say. She submitted the message to the manager. The manager looked at it, and she had to have okayed it before it was released. It doesn't mean that she edited the message and then submitted it. That just means that she probably had to give an advance okay and say, yeah, this is okay to say in public before she sent it. If anything, she might have told her, you probably want to say this better, or you might want to say this in a different way, so she had to rewrite it. But I don't think her manager actually rewrote it for her. If anything, she may have submitted what she wanted to say, like through Discord or something, and then her manager, just transcribed it onto, a plain, PNG like this, and then posted it for her. But, yeah, I mean, there is plenty in here to say that this wasn't purely a corporate statement, because this does not sound anywhere near a corporate statement. This does sound like a rather, I'm not going to say filtered, but I am going to say probably, approved message that was sent directly from her, but it had to go through the proxy. Her manager, she probably doesn't want to, right now, she probably doesn't want to look at Twitter, to be honest. If she's taking care of her mental health, she probably doesn't want to see what's going on Twitter, and she may have been, she may have been, it may have been suggested, take time off from social media and you'll probably feel better, because I'll tell you the truth, almost every single person who disconnects from social media for a length of time feels better, because they're not being exposed to all the stuff that happens on social media. It's just it's fact. It's a big fact. So, social media can definitely be detrimental towards a person's mental health, and it's been proven. It's a psychological fact. So, but anyways, that's all I have for today. Again, I just wanted to discuss what was said by Haachama, and provide a little bit of perspective and context to what was said. Discuss what it likely means. You know, I'm not trying to add anything to her statement. Rather than that, you know, what I do want to add is an opinion and suggestion based upon what she said, in order to, you know, provide a bit of context of what she might have been going through, or what she might have been experiencing over the past month. It's all positive. None of it's negative. We want to keep that very clear, that she's definitely getting the help that she needs, and that, you know, if it's all physical, which it could be, she could, you know, be physically exhausted or had some kind of health condition that we didn't know about. You know, that's very possible as well. You know, or if it's been, you know, a mental issue she's fighting through, and she is, you know, trying to find the right combination of drugs and therapy. You know, that's a very likely possibility as well. It's not a bad thing. Being able to say that you are, you know, that you are not doing, you know, doing well, and that you are getting better, and you're trying to find a way to get healthy, that's, you know, that's all positive. It's all a positive thing. You know, it just means that, you know, she's going to come back to us, you know, stronger, better, more healthy, you know, and in a better place than where she was when she left, and that's all positive. So, yeah, thank you, Wiley. Thank you. And it's been a while since I had an opportunity to stream, so I'm glad that I was able to hop on this morning. I'm hoping to be more active here starting this week now that the weather is cleared up, my lungs have cleared up, and everything else. So we'll take that one day at a time too. But in the meantime, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Unless anything else pops up. I see I've already gotten a number of notifications. I'll have to see what all that's about later. But yeah, it's nice to hang out. Hopefully I'll be able to hang out more this week. And you know, I still have a number of games on my to playlist here, so I hope to be doing some gaming this week. Jump back into you know, doing more of our learning Japanese type thing. You know, yeah, I need to get back into that, start that up, and there's a couple other things I'd like to do. So, well, I'm not gonna try to be ambitious and plan it all ahead. I'll take it one day at a time. You know, if other things pop up that I feel like are conversation worthy, I'll definitely pop up and you know, make room for a discussion on it. So yeah, it's been fun. You guys, thank you so much for dropping in. Knight, thank you for dropping in. The cool 20, the cool 2T, thank you for dropping in. Wiley, thank you for dropping in. Oreo, thank you for dropping in. Gensu some thank you for dropping in. I know there was a couple other people. Thank you guys. The Spartan 119, thank you for dropping in. Appreciate all the conversation and everyone that that dropped in. I know a bunch of people lurked. Thank you guys for dropping in as well. I really appreciate you guys dropping in. Thank you everyone who watches the VOD. If you watch the VOD, thank you for dropping in. I really appreciate that. Again, we'll talk about things as they turn up. If things happen with her, with Haachama, or with other people. I know Mickey Nico has also made some moves here. She recently joined a another agency. There has not been any word yet from Vizojo or from her alternate persona whether or not she is staying or leaving with Vizojo yet. So we're keeping an eye on that news as well. If anything pops up with that, we'll definitely try to talk about that as it happens. But VTubers like it, I think. I think. I hope. I don't know. We hope, right? Yeah, we'll definitely talk about the other stuff too as it develops or when it pops up. Here, we're gonna keep an eye on Miki Nico's moves as well with her new agency or with her second agency. We don't know whether or not she's gonna leave Vizojo or whether or not that is something that's in her contract that allows her to be part of two agencies at once. We will see. We do know that she's going to be streaming with a different name and persona on her with her new agency here. I forget what it's called. Voice Ore as a V actor. She will have the stage name of Kyoto Ria. Kyoto Ria. At least that's what it said according to the statement. There has, I am assuming she is going to either probably get a different model with Voice Ore. When I checked out their website, they all had VTuber models. I doubt she is going to sign over ownership of her Miki Nico model to the other company unless her new model happens to be provided by the other company. I'm not sure yet. Are there dual agency talents? I don't know. I know that occasionally happens on the voice actor side of things with anime, where you can technically sign with multiple agencies as pure contract work. I don't know how her I'm not sure how. I don't know how how her contract with Vizojo works out. I don't know if they would if that's like considered like the same thing as like how so long as you're not using our assets for your other stream. I'm not sure how that works out. We'll have to keep an eye on that. If she makes a formal debut without, graduating from Vizojo, that will definitely be interesting to watch. I'm confused now. Lots of she is definitely split personality, ain't she? It is, and unfortunately, it looks like she deleted her live stream that she did this morning too, which was unfortunate. Either that or she moved it to membership only. I'm not sure. I haven't looked yet. But the retweet I sent out this morning made it look like she deleted it. Well, the tweet was deleted by the author. Okay, so she deleted her tweet. So yeah, I don't know. She did definitely stream this morning though, and it was good. I missed that. I missed listening to that scream of hers. Her scream was she did it brought back a lot of memories. So hopefully when Haachama comes back, we'll be able to look back and say, yeah, we've missed you. We missed you so much, but we're glad to have you back. So we'll keep an eye on things, guys, and we'll definitely stream more as things develop, if things develop, or and are talk worthy. So please keep an eye out for that. If you if you haven't already and want to subscribe to my channel, you're more than welcome to. If I ever do hit 1K, I might finally get monetized. It's not a big concern. I'm not worried about monetization, but I know I know a few of my a few of my co-VTubers that I talk to offline. They're like, so when are you gonna hit 1K? I'm like, I don't know, maybe one day. But it's not a big rush. There's actually There's actually rumor that YouTube might drop that down from 1K to like 750 or something. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen, but there's talk about another tier where you can monetize after X amount of, I think it's like 700 or 750 or something. I don't know if that's true or not. I think I think that talk might be because, like, you know, Twitch, you can monetize after a certain amount and it's lower than 1K. But I don't know if they're really gonna do that or not. We'll see. One day 1K, yeah. I don't know if I can endurance stream until for 1K, you know, especially for the fact that I don't do anything worth endurance streaming, you know. That's worth watching anyways. But we'll get there one day, right, guys? So that's not a problem. But yeah, if you do enjoy what I'm doing, like I said, we talk about a lot. You know, we talk about other VTubers on this channel. I don't have the rule of, you know, you only talk about me or you don't talk about anybody. We talk about other VTubers on my channel. We talk about anything on my channel. You don't even have to talk about what I'm streaming. You know, if you're here and you want to talk about something else while I'm streaming, hey, we could talk about anything. You know, the main thing is, if I'm presenting a particular topic, that we try to talk about that topic and that person until I'm done with that presentation, and then we can talk about anything you want. You know, that's the big thing. You know, and if you stick around to that point, hey, I don't mind talking about something else. You know, unless I'm about to sign off, then I might say, we'll talk about it next time. So, did you see that you can pay YouTube for viewers? I did see that. I did see that. I did see that there are, well, there are a few things out there that you can pay for and you can do in order to fudge your numbers. You know, some of it's legit, some of it's not legit, but there are, and that's kind of what the that's kind of why views are a very big a person's view numbers are very skewed. It's a very skewed number, because viewership of a stream does not equate to the fact that somebody's actually watching. Views can be as little as a click, and that can be as long as I believe you have to click and actually like initialize the stream. And I don't remember exactly how long the limit is. I want to say it's like a minute or 30 seconds or something like that. And then the counter will count you as a view. But if you look at a person's dashboard, you have your view numbers of how many people have actually clicked on your stream, right? And then you have a concurrent view of how many people are concurrently watching you at any one point in time, like, you know, in real time. And then you have your average viewer duration, and that's how much a viewer has stuck around and actually watched the stream. And what counts the most for monetization purposes is number one, you know, clicks. If someone clicks on your channel, chances are you're going to get an ad, right? Unless you are part of YouTube Premium. So then you get the ad click. So that counts for something, but it's extremely little. You have to like have, you know, tens of thousands of clicks in order for it to like add up to anything substantial. But then you also have your stream duration, which counts more on YouTube because you have to hit I think it's like 20,000 viewing hours on your streams in a certain time period for them to consider monetizing your channel, because that either equates to clicks and ad revenue, or that equates to the potential of somebody spending on your channel. Yeah, and a lot of times what they do is they'll just queue up either like people there that are either employees, or that what they'll do is they'll either queue up like a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth stream, whatever, and then they'll have people just sit there and open up your channel and not say anything, but yeah, there's more than one way of doing it, it's just like how people fudge their numbers with subscriptions. I mean, there are people out there right now that have 20,000 subscribers to their channel, but about 60% of them are all dummy accounts, because people use dummy accounts to sign up for their channel. Well, there's nothing wrong with you watching multiple streamers, by the way. There is nothing wrong with that. There's definitely nothing wrong with that. But the thing is, see, like a lot of people, what they'll do is like, especially like people who are trying to get to 1,000, they'll do drives like that, and then they'll have somebody create 5, 6, 7, 10, 15, 20 dummy accounts, and then sign up to their channel with all the dummy accounts. And to get you over the hump to 1,000 subscribers is fine, but unless you get to the 4,000 viewership hours, that's another thing. And if you have nothing but dummy accounts sign up to your channel and they never watch anything or watch your channel, YouTube can and sometimes do deny your monetization, because they recognize, hey, these are all dummy accounts from people using VPNs, or they're never active, they all signed up at once, they all created their accounts on the same day, and you did a drive that day, you're just fudging your numbers, that kind of thing. So there's a number of things that have to happen, but so you can earn just by listening. I don't know what the exact plan is on that thing. There's a lot of programs that YouTube has done lately, and I'm not sure exactly what all the plans are. I haven't been keeping up. It's something I'd have to research after we're done. But yeah, that's definitely a. Hey, if you can get paid just to watch, or listen to other people, I don't know if you exactly would be interested in everybody that's streaming. But hey, if you can like just pull their screen up and then tab out, or play a game while you're listening to them, hey, that's one thing, right? That's what I do with some people. I'll especially if they're just doing a talk stream, I'll just sit there and listen to them and occasionally type to them. So that's worth it. All right, guys, it's almost lunchtime. I'm getting hungry. Let's call it a day here. Thank you guys so much for dropping in. Again, if you are new to the channel, or if you have made it this far and haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If not, hey, just keep me in your mind if anything does pop up with Haachama or any of the other VTubers that you know, I either am engaged with or watch or enjoy or whatever, I'll definitely try to stream about it. We always try to talk positive here, and then if in the event of something negative happens, we try to get down to the truth. Other than that, I also try to stream games. Hopefully this week, I am going to be streaming. Hopefully, I'm going to be streaming Star Rail this week, Ace Combat, and maybe what was the other one? Not the Outlast Trials. What was the other one? The Bunker one. Amnesia the Bunker? Yeah, something like that. I'm hoping that I can stream those this week. We'll hopefully get around to those this week. So, other than that, thank you guys so much for dropping in. You guys take care. Have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever the case is for you. Until then, guys, this is Marko Yamashita signing off. Peace.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want